So what? You don't want me to show myself?
I just needed to make you co-host.
This is your grand master plan.
All right, welcome everybody. Let's get started. So thank you for joining. This is Fireside Chat, Ask Us Anything. I'm Ian Alexander, co-founder and channel chief. Got Emily here, CEO, and Andy. Everybody knows Andy. No introduction needed. So we're gonna get started here. Andy, I'm gonna pass it to you. You want to kick us off?
Yeah, thanks. Well, hey everybody. And first, let me say, Christmas sweaters definitely badass. Love them. Ian sends me a note last night. He's like, "Oh, hey, we're gonna be wearing ugly Christmas sweaters." So he's like, and I don't have one. So I'm out trying to shop last night. I can't find one anywhere. It's not fun to try to do that 5 days before Christmas. So I found this super ugly Christmas t-shirt. So I'm trying to be in the spirit. Definitely don't feel
I'm
like
impressed, Andy. You passed. You passed
I
the test.
tried, so yeah, appreciate it.
I thought you were gonna Sharpie on your white tee.
That crossed my mind. No joke. So anyways, getting back to Syncro stuff, before we get started, I just want to take a quick moment and talk about the Ask Us Anything program, which is what we would normally be doing today in lieu of this fireside chat that we're doing, that we do every week. Basically, that was to replace a program that we used to have called Open Office Hours, where our MSP partners could hop into a Zoom with us on a regular cadence, ask us things like, how do I do this on the platform, best practices, things like that. We stopped the program a little over a year ago, and ever since we decided to stop it, it's been nothing but, when's it coming back? Can you bring it back? We want it back. So yes, it's back. Definitely heard you all loud and clear. And this is going to have a little bit of an expanded scope. So it can literally include anything you all want to talk about, from things from the MSP space to best practices for your specific business scenario, business blockers that you're personally looking to overcome. We're here to answer all those questions along with your regular platform questions as well. We're going to be running those every 2 to 3 weeks. They'll be put on by Ian and I. This is, I think, the third one that we've done here since we spun the program up again. Also going to be inviting on special guests from time to time, like Emily, who we're happy to have you here today, Emily. We'll always be announcing the next one at the end of each event. So next one is going to be happening January 10th, same time, again, every 2 to 3 weeks. So yeah, other than that, let's kick things off. We thought it would be fun to lob a couple questions your way, Emily, so folks can get to know you a little bit better. So
no one told me about that, Andy.
Ian, why don't you start it off?
Yeah, so I've been here for a very, very long time. And Emily joined at the end of 2021. And so one of the things I wanted to start with was, you came from Datto, had a lot of experience in the space. I'm curious what you noticed that was different about Syncro when you joined.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that one. I'll choose which questions I'm happy to answer, which ones I'm not. Okay, that's good. I worked at Datto for a lot of years, as you rightly point out, pre-pandemic, but during a really, really high growth phase. So I started, by working in the training department. Actually, my first big projects and energies were on the training side. And then I worked a lot with the tech support team and ended up eventually working with the product team as chief product officer. But I learned a lot about MSPs, during my time in tech support. And coming to Syncro, first of all, the pandemic happened in the middle. So, being at a fully remote company wasn't necessarily new, but Syncro had been remote for a while. So that was definitely, a different environment for me, being at a company that had been remote sort of from inception. What nice background update, Andy. That was definitely a difference, because I think we were set up for success, right? We weren't just adapting and trying to figure that out for the first time like a lot of other companies. We had been that way for a while, and we're trying to figure out as we grow how to keep that culture and the team intact. So that was a difference. I think Syncro is at a different scale than Datto was when I left, and even than Datto was at when I joined Datto. But I've been at smaller companies before, just getting started, and there were a lot of folks here that were really, really passionate about MSPs, whether they had worked at an MSP, run an MSP, just spent a lot of time in the space. There were a lot of people who are just really, really passionate about helping MSPs, whether it's with a product or by sharing knowledge, that just permeated everything that we did, from our sales process to Andy's, efforts, calling him out on this call. Like, there was just a number of examples of the ways that we just really embraced our MSPs. And our partners, Syncro partners, were definitely a bit different too. And something that I really, really enjoyed. Very interested in helping each other, caring a lot about sort of advancing different efforts in the space and like sharing information. So that was kind of interesting to me and different. And of course, I get to work with Ian and Andy. So that was an enhanced benefit of
We're
coming
sorry.
to Syncro, for sure.
Yeah, apologies about that. So obviously Datto is not exactly the same as Syncro, but I'm curious, like, what lessons you've been able to bring from Datto that maybe have changed a little bit of the way we do things here.
Yeah, I mean, Datto is where I learned about the channel as a thing. I was working at Backupify, which got acquired by Datto. So I fell into the MSP space. I didn't really choose it, but working in tech support for many, many years at Datto and talking to a lot of partners over the years there definitely gave me a lot of knowledge about like what matters to MSPs, and that they're all, and so is Syncro, like a small business that's trying to grow, trying to get more efficient, trying to get more competent in areas that maybe we don't bring to the table ourselves, trying to build teams, try to deal with customers and deliver great customer service. And I learned a lot of those lessons by working with partners directly and making mistakes and learning from them at Datto. And like I said, it was a high growth time there. And so there was plenty of opportunity to learn and make mistakes and grow from that. So I think, just keeping the focus on the partners is one of the biggest things like I want to bring, and that I think hopefully you guys can be the judge and share with the crowd if I've achieved it or not in the first year, but really bringing the focus back to the partners and what matters to them, and making sure that we constantly have that centered at the core of what we do at Syncro, because that's how we'll all be successful together.
Yeah, makes sense. It's been a little more than a year now. It feels like we've done so many things. It feels like it's been a lot longer than a year, but if you could summarize, like, what are some of the things you think have changed since you joined internally?
Yeah, it's been, this last year for everybody, I think, feels like 10 years. So, I was doing a look back, preparing for like a kickoff next year of all that we got done in the last year and all we accomplished together as an industry. And I think, Syncro has matured a lot. I feel like when I joined, we were a small company trying to be big, but we didn't quite know exactly how big to be, and maybe had lost a little bit of our way, or we were struggling to figure out how to mature, but mature at the right pace and not overdo it with process or formality or too much rigor in what we were doing. And I think in 2022 we made a lot of good progress in finding our balance in that. So I feel like we are delivering value as quickly as we possibly can to our partners now, with the right amount of sort of formality around that. And I think, we've done a lot on the product side. We have released, you can go back and look at all the release notes and the things that we launched, but we also built up our team internally. I think we are very well equipped now for the year and the years ahead in some of the leadership that we've brought in, just in the work we've done with our team. And like I said, recentering sort of MSPs at the focus of that. And, our partner base has grown incredibly. We had a release this year, we're over 4,000 partners on the Syncro platform. So that has changed a lot about how we operate internally and the kinds of platform changes and planning we've had to do for the future as well.
All right, I got a good one for you, Emily. So 2022, I'm sure everybody's on the call wanting to know this too. So 2022 was definitely a really big year for us. We continue as a company to see record numbers of MSPs on the Syncro platform. It's like month over month. I don't know if we've ever had a down month since I've been here. Definitely not since you've been. But yeah, I'm sure everybody really wants to know, like, what are we doing to continue that momentum going into 2023? Like, what can partners look forward to in 2023? And why did we specifically choose those areas of focus moving forward?
This is gonna be a long answer, Andy, so get comfortable. That was a lot. I think I alluded to some of it already, but I can expand on it. And as I've mentioned, we really want to focus on our partners, and we have taken that approach for this year. We'll continue that in 2023. So all of the roadmap, the services, the even internal changes that maybe we don't talk too much about, they're all driven by what MSPs need from us going forward. And so a lot of the 2023 plan relates directly back to what we've heard from our partners and from the market in terms of what's needed next year, what people are maybe worried about or need help with. We had an exec offsite a couple of weeks ago. We actually talked directly to partners at that offsite just to solidify that we were on the right track and get any additional feedback. And they confirmed for us that they need three main things. They want us to be reliable and to give ROI. Like, they want to know that when they're spending dollars with Syncro, that's going to help them get more efficient, grow, not waste their time. So that's like one pillar of our plan next year. They want to know that their needs are being met. Like, how can Syncro help me with the challenges I have? And number three, they want to grow. And so the three sort of areas of focus that we have for next year directly map to what our partners have asked for. So we are going to deliver, the same affordable platform that our partners have come to know and love, and the market's come to know and love. And it's going to be even more reliable. So we're going to continue to invest in our core platform: reliability, security, stability, scalability. You've seen that from us this year, but we need to continue to do that. We want to stay ahead of the growth that we're seeing. Number two, we want to make sure everybody's needs are met. So we want to make sure that we have all the essential solutions that are high quality and trusted, just like Syncro is, and we're making those available to our partners. And then, as our partners grow and count on us to help them grow, we want to deliver there. We want to make sure that we are delivering features that they need as they grow, features that help them grow, services that make them more efficient and able to grow. That could be in support, for example, or onboarding help. There are different initiatives there, but we want to make sure that we're there for our partners.
Good answer. All right. And actually, on the ROI piece, I think it was G2 that just recently ranked us fastest to ROI in the space.
ROI, yeah, the RMM, yeah, I think, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, very cool stuff. All right.
Okay, we'll have more chance to ask Emily questions. We're going to do a Q&A at the end. So if anybody has questions, I see folks are putting them in the Q&A. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, feel free to just put them as comments. We'll be able to see them. And so we'll have a whole section for Q&A at the end. So one of the things we wanted to do here is just look back on the year, talk about all the things that we were able to release, answer any questions about those things, and give some updates. So one of the first things, I know you've all been hearing about Heroku to AWS migration. Just talk about for a second to revisit why we're doing that. So by moving from Heroku to AWS, we will have more scalability, more performance, more security. So there's a lot of different really good reasons that it sets us up as a foundational piece for the future to scale as we have more and more folks using Syncro. It also gives us more observability. So when we do have issues pop up, we just have a lot more tools at our disposal to be able to diagnose and remediate those things. So it's been an investment for the future, and we wanted to make that investment. This last Saturday was the second of two maintenance windows that we did in order to complete that migration. So I'm very happy to announce, and I will continue to be happy about it, that we are completely off of Heroku and now on AWS, which is awesome. So that work is done. There will probably be some additional small performance improvements, et cetera, some changes we'll make now that we are on AWS in the new year, but the big chunk of work is done and complete, and that was successful. So thank you for your patience on that. I know it took a long time, but now we are in a much better place, and that's great. So that's the update on that.
That's why I was almost late for this fireside chat as an aside. I came from our shutdown of Heroku database party. So it is happening.
Yeah.
I have to go look for my invite because I didn't know that was happening. Well, that's a pretty cool milestone.
That's a continuous party.
To go along with the year in review, I'm going to show folks a couple things that we did this year. I'm not going to show everything, obviously. Can you all see my screen? Okay.
Yep.
So just a couple of bigger features that we landed this year. Our biggest one by far was our major Windows patch management overhaul. And that's what I'm showing you all here today. So what we're looking at is a Windows update policy, and this gets attached to what we call asset policies, which is basically what defines everything that your machines are going to do. And what we did was we broke down Microsoft security patches, and then they call them quality patches down here, into individualized categories. And now you have full granular control over each category. So you can approve and reject, and those are for blanket for the whole category. Those are pretty straightforward. You can also set it to manual. So it's something that it's not bad if it installs, and it's something that your tech can go ahead and freely install manually if they wanted to, but it won't automatically put on the platform for you. And then the last thing we added, which is very, very cool and relatively unique to Syncro, is this defer mechanic. And this basically says, I don't want to be one of the people that gets caught the next time Print Nightmare or any of these patches that seem to come out every 6 months that just trash some systems inadvertently. So this will actually hold the patch for a customizable amount of time. Here I have it set to 2 weeks, and you've got your own deferment period for each category type. And that will basically hold it and then approve it 2 weeks after the machine has seen it. So as soon as you hear that something got caught up in the news with a bad patch, a bunch of people are having to roll back and creating havoc, you won't have to worry about that because hopefully you've got this set up and you're deferred. You can just go in and block the patch by KB, which is something else new that we added down here. You can add it on the actual policy if it's just for a specific asset itself or a specific subset of assets, or you can do it down here globally, and this will just appear on every single policy going forward until somebody removes it. So this is where you go if something hits the news and you want to go ahead and kill it, make sure it does not get installed across your fleet. Second big feature that we landed this year was our technician and customer efficiency report. This is really the beginning stages of Syncro putting a pretty heavy focus on both profitability and efficiency of your MSP. So what this does on the technician front is this takes every single ticket that you all worked within whatever given time frame you want, and it figures out how much time the ball was in your court. This is not how long it took Andy as a technician to solve a ticket. So let's say Ian's my customer, he sends a ticket and says, hey, my printer's broken. The clock starts ticking. If I send a note back to Ian and say, hey, please reboot it, try these 5 things, the clock stops ticking. So this is basically the entire time any given ticket was in my court. It was in a workable state from the time that we got the ticket until the time the ticket was flagged as resolved. We break it down into different types here for you based on your ticket types. And then we get averages of how long it took to resolve these tickets. Now, this is just junk data I've got in a staging account. So obviously, if it took 24 weeks to solve a ticket, you're probably going to get fired. So just ignore that portion for now. And then what we'll do is we'll actually take every single technician you have on staff, including yourself, and we will compare you to your baseline. So as an example here, we can see that this particular technician is 84% below average, below what the rest of the company is performing at, and that's a major problem. Now, if you look here, the first two, they're like 86, 81% respectively below average. The one down here, they're just 2%, so that's relatively par. So maybe I brought on this technician to figure out software problems, and this is not the hardware guy. Well, if that's the case, maybe that explains this. Maybe it's a new tech that we're ramping, or maybe this tech just sucks and it's time to move on. It could be any of those things. I don't always want to go to the negative, but that happens, and that's what these reports are designed to expose. And on the flip side, if you have somebody vastly outperforming your average, it could be that they're a superstar and that's great. It could also mean that you might only be assigning them tickets that they are way overqualified for. So you might not be getting your full money's worth out of the tech. We took that report and we broke down the exact same thing, and we did it for customers as well. So all your baselines are identical, but we'll break it down by customer. So you can see that this customer is consuming 93% more of my time than the average customer. That's a big problem because I might have misqualified this customer when we signed the contract, and now all of a sudden I'm making way less than I had anticipated because they're taking way more of my time. So this is another example of where you can go in and you can find dud contracts that you might have signed that are coming up for renewal. Then you got to make a decision based off this data. Do I have to increase their pricing? Can I even increase their pricing? Do I have to kick them because they're simply not profitable for my business and they're dragging us down. Vice versa, if you have somebody using half as much time as everybody else, you probably want to consider them the VIP. And those are the ones you might want to funnel into faster support queues and things like that to ensure that they always remain a VIP. So super cool reports. We're getting a lot of good feedback on these. And then the last thing I want to talk about quick is our new Acronis partnership. We launched that, I think 2 months ago now. Initially, it is designed to be a sell-through partnership for Acronis backups. Was initially designed to save our MSPs money on their monthly Acronis spend or their monthly backup spend. We have very aggressive pricing here. We're also now in full swing with migrations, which means we can switch your billing from a distributor like Paxate or Ingram or even Acronis directly over to Syncro to start saving everybody money today. It's just a simple back-end billing switch. You're not going to see any changes in your Acronis instance or anything like that. So for anybody interested in seeing exactly how much they'd save, just feel free to reach out to me directly. It's andy@syncromsp.com. And then moving forward, we are looking to potentially add some additional functionality behind that integration. Billing is something like we're looking at specifically, but there is some other things as well. In the meantime, we do have a few scripts in our community library specifically to go side by side with this integration. Things like silent deployments of the Acronis agent, as well as things like throwing RMM alerts for failed backup jobs or no successful backup in X amount of days, that kind of thing. We're currently servicing partners in the United States, Canada, and the UK for Acronis, and then we are spinning up instances of Australia and New Zealand sometime in Q1. So again, if you want to know more, if you're interested in getting a new account provisioned, interested in learning more about the migration process or just general questions about the integration, again, shoot me an email at andy@syncromsp.com. I'm going to pass it over to Ian. I know he wanted to talk about some current initiatives that I think are coming to a head pretty soon here.
Yeah, and we already have questions about them in the Q&A. So we anticipated this. So yeah, a couple updates, Rich Text and Stripe ACH. So let's talk about Rich Text first. Although I will say broadly, they are both in early access right now. So people are using them. They're getting tested. We're ironing out any remaining items. And then once the early access group is giving all positive feedback, they will go out for a GA. So everyone will be able to use them. I will say Rich Text specifically, if you are interested in joining the early access group, feel free to shoot me an email, ian@syncromsp.com, and I can get you access to that. And then Stripe is being tested. It's not going out imminently, but it's going to go out soon once we have that all again ironed out. And we're excited to get people using that. Okay. In addition to the Rich Text and Stripe ACH stuff, we have been kicking off UI UX work. We gave an update earlier in the year that we had some folks join the team and looking at UI UX in general. We have had some delighters go out related to that, but we're looking broadly at UI UX in the platform, starting with the navigation because that affects every single page. So that work is ongoing. You should see results from that in the new year. So that's pretty awesome. And we will have more and more of that going forward. Emily mentioned this, but another big update is we passed 4,000 partners on the platform. So that's pretty awesome. And just a testament to all the feedback you guys are giving us and helping us make the platform better. So
yeah, and one thing I love about that is, it brings with it its own challenges, which is always exciting. But one of the benefits, and going back to the Acronis offering that we made, is we're able to sort of use the collective power of all of our partners to bring everyone sort of better prices on things. So I was really excited with the launch of Acronis that we were able to do that. Like Andy said, it's really competitive pricing. And thanks to everyone sort of working together, so to speak, that we were able to bring that to everyone. I really want to be able to do more of that going forward. So I'm excited about that for next year.
Yeah, I just want to say on the 4,000 MSP front, it's so funny because I remember the last time that we were doing this a year ago. I mean, I talk to all of you guys all the time anyways, but I saw 90% of the names that showed up for participants. I knew who everybody is. And I feel like in this one, I'm scrolling through the list. I feel like I know half of you all at best. So it's just exciting to see so many new folks joining us here. It's pretty cool.
Emily, over to you.
Yes. And then also one last thing, one more thing that we've done in 2022 is make a lot of improvements to our support experience. And a lot of that came just in the last few months of the year. So, as you reach out and contact support going forward, I hope that you experience the improvements that we've made. We did hire a new director of support who started in September. She will be at the next Ask Us Anything that we mentioned earlier in the show that Andy highlighted on January 10th. That's at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So in case you're like going to put your calendar invite in right away, you can hold that spot. McCall Gardner has worked with MSPs for many, many years. She has run an award-winning tech support team with a vendor that you would know very well in the space. And she's also started to become even more active in the Syncro community. You might have seen her posting on our recent maintenance windows, on the early access. We started a known issues board. So she is bringing a lot of great best practices and is really leveling up our support experience. And that has already begun, but you'll also see that continue into 2023 as well.
Yeah, just to highlight really quick, we did launch the known issues board yesterday, which was pretty cool. So that's been highly requested, and yeah, she's getting stuff done. It's cool.
Yeah, and just a reminder, we have 24/5 support in case people forgot or aren't aware. So we have techs available 24/5 to help you with your issues, your questions. You'll hear more from McCall about the improvements she wants to make next year when she comes on the show, and I'm sure she'll be happy to take your questions. And the known issues board was launched in conjunction with the Rich Text EA, which is now available to anyone who would like to request it. And there's information about that on the community as well. And I think I answered a question that posted a link. Did I do that properly? Maybe not.
Maybe.
Anyway, if you look at the community, you'll see instructions on how to get access to Rich Text. And it also links you to the known issues board, which is a new initiative that McCall is driving.
Oh, yes, you did it properly.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about some quality of life features. So we had this company offsite, this maybe a couple of weeks ago, and we all had a hackathon type thing where we had 2 days to figure out some cool plans. My plans are always ridiculous, and they're always 5 times the size of what we can realistically do. So there's always a meeting immediately after if I wrote something about how to scale it back and bring it back to reality. But I was trying to see how many quality of life features. He is laughing because that's a legit thing. So we wanted to do a whole bunch of quality of life features throughout December. We actually got half of what I wanted, which I have to say, that's actually pretty amazing that we got half even. So I'm going to roll through these. I know we have 4, and then I was just pinged that the other 2 were done. I'm going to check those in a second, and we're going to show all 6 of them. And then right as soon as this ends, we're going to roll them out for everybody. So everything I show you right now, you guys will be able to play with later today. So we never tried this before live, so let's see how this goes. Can you all see my screen?
Yep.
All right, cool. So again, quality of life features, just very small things that improve your day-to-day, reduce clicks, just make something a little more convenient. Here we're looking at an asset record, and we're on our scripts tab. And this is basically a history of all the scripts that were run on this asset. Previously, this was just plain text. So if I'm running through, I'm like, hey, what the hell is a script? I don't know. Well, now you can actually click it. We turned into a link. So it's one-click access right to the script. So you can see exactly what it was doing if you're not sure. That's 1. 2 is actually kind of cool. I've been after this one for a while. So here's a script that we have. It's one of our bootstrap scripts for folks that aren't great at writing scripts. We've got some mock ones in here for you. This is for creating a new registry key. And we've got a really powerful script variable system. So basically when I run the script, it's going to be like, hey, what's the path? What's the key name? I'm going to go create it for you. Now, of course, I want to run this one as system. Problem is, if I ever want to do something different or I want to run it as the logged in user instead, I couldn't. So I had to clone this script, change this to logged in user. Then I have 2 instances of this in my script library. It kind of sucked. So what we did was when you run it manually, we added this new run as. So you can always flip this on the fly. It'll default if you don't want to set this to whatever it was originally set to. But now you can change it on the fly to logged in user. It won't edit your script. This is just to save you time when you're running it as a one-off. So I love this one in particular. Third one is we had a lot of folks that track this kind of stuff religiously. Like, hey, I've got 130 open invoices for $15,000. Problem is that we didn't do a particularly good job of showing you when those invoices were coming due. So now we added this sortable due date column, which seems like a small thing, but now at a glance, I can easily say, okay, well, these two here are overdue at the top. They were supposed to be here on the 15th. The next four are likely to come in a batch 2 weeks from now. And it can help you plan out a little bit better for folks that need that from a cash flow perspective. So again, small little thing, but it has a big impact when you're watching this number pretty religiously. Fourth one, I think this is my favorite out of the batch. If Jimmy's on this call, he must have sent me this request like 5,000 times, as have many other people. We added this little checkbox here in ticket settings for automatically assigned technicians to unassigned tickets when they respond. What that basically means is this: I have a ticket here and I'm not assigned to it. So what often happens is somebody will go down, especially when it's an emergency ticket, and they just want to get an answer as quickly as possible. Then they forget to assign themselves to the ticket. What happens is now no one owns this ticket. The customer responds, and me being the technician, I'm not getting notified on the response. Customer's calling in, he's like, dude, I gave this to you like days ago. Why is nobody on this? It was because I was never assigned to the ticket. So what we did was, if you have that triggered optionally, now when you write a response, doesn't matter if it's a private note or you email them or whatever, if I added any ticket comment, it will automatically assign me as the assignee now. So you can no longer forget to do that if you want this as part of your flow. I know it's been asked for a long time, so I'm super glad to finally deliver this one for folks. All right, now these ones, I don't know what's going to happen, so let's find out, because it was supposed to be there.
Live demo.
I just got pinged live demo. Yep. Okay, this one is here, so this is good. So we had initially we just showed people's phone number here for assets, and that was it. And one of the problems was you're working a problem, you're looking at the asset record, and now I have to call this customer. And I call and I realize it's an automated attendant asking me to put in an extension, and I don't have it. So then I have to open up the customer record, find the contact, find the extension, and hope that I didn't get hung up on by the time I figure out what it is and key it in. So we added the extension, and then we also added the mobile phone as well. I had this a lot as my MSP, where I'd be working late. I know everybody on this call has been working late. And they're out of the office already, but it's something you need to let the customer know about. So we put their mobile phone in here as well, so you can get more information right from the asset record. And then this one, we're about to find out. So we added a new bulk. We added a new bulk mechanic. We had a lot of people asking. You can bulk edit a bunch of things like statuses and things like that. There was no way to bulk edit a priority. And as an example, in my MSP, we would have like entire regions when we were in Las Vegas would just go down due to construction for their internet. So I would get like 4 million requests at the same exact time, where it's like, hey, internet's down, and it was a pain going through every single one and manually setting the priority to like priority 0, priority 1, whatever you're using. Well, now we added that. So if you look in your bulk actions, it is here, cool. You can now bulk set your priority. So anyways, that's 6 small things that we now have will be live, I'd probably say within the hour. And then I just want to say on quality of life features in general, we've heard our users loud and clear when it comes to releasing more of this type of feature. And trust me, I love big and flashy features. I broke Dropbox paper once I made a feature that was so big. So like, I love that kind of stuff, but we totally get the value of the smaller features and how they can really improve your day-to-day and running your business as an MSP. So definitely expect more of this type of thing coming in 2023. And then on top of that, if folks have their own quality of life features that they want to see implemented, we've got the feature request category in our community forums. Tell us what you want to see. We want to know what else would really save you all time, money, clicks, whatever it is. Put it in there. Let us look at it. Let's have a discussion about it. Everything that I just showed you came from requests from our users, and that's how we would like this portion of our development track to work. So that's it for prepared content. So I think we're going to open it up to Q&A. And remember, if any of you guys have a specific question for one of us, I'm assuming a lot of folks are going to have questions for Emily specifically. Make sure just to put their name in the question so we know who to give it to.
Oh, I think I know how this works, Andy. You give me all the hard ones.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I was right away looking for the ones that I don't want to answer. Dave is saying Christmas sweater competition. Dave, who wins? It's not going to be me because I don't have a sweater on, but I don't know.
Wait, Andy, Ian, we need your full sweater though. Come on.
Oh yeah, mine's
I got a
Sacramento Kings themed.
I don't know, they're both pretty bad. So why don't we have a little vote there and see who's gonna win that one. Okay, Randy, I was just speaking to you the other day, Randy. He's saying, looking forward to some GUI updates, not a big hit fan of having to scroll or all the extra white space. When the redesign is done, can we get it so that we can choose what info to show and where to put them, colors, fonts, formats, etc.? I would probably say yes and no. I always feel that nothing is ever as customizable as I'd like it, but there is things like that in the works. One of the things that I'm banging on, I can't promise it'll happen, is ever since I got one of these really ultra wide monitors, now like in my house, I have them everywhere. I can't work without them. And it does bug me too, that when you expand it, I don't get any extra information. So that type of thing is definitely what we're looking to add there. And sorry, Ian, now I realize that you flagged that one to answer. So I don't know if you want
No, I just pressed it because you were answering it.
Okay, cool.
I would add though that we're gonna prioritize areas that affect lots of parts of the app first, right? So the reason we're starting with navigation, for example, is it's on every page. I think there's a lot of parts of the product that need to be standardized. We have lots of different types of UI elements in lots of places. So we're looking at like things that affect the app broadly first. I'll jump to this other one because it's related to UI UX, but we got a question here. If you can get a sneak peek of UI UX things, we have a list that is folks that have offered to provide feedback. If you want to be on that list, feel free to shoot me an email, ian@syncromsp.com, and I can add you.
Peter is asking, any plans for putting the customer name in the web browser tab when you are on a ticket? So Peter, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I think that's awesome. And I roll with like 4,000 tabs too. And I can never find the tab that I want because the ticket number means nothing to me. So go in our community forum, look for the feature request category, put that in there, please, because I guarantee you I will be all over that one. That is an awesome idea. Ian, there's one here. Do you have any update on an issue with automated scripts failing? I'm still seeing this on occasion. So yeah, I mean, that was a big part of this Heroku migration, but I'll let Ian speak to that. I know he's got more details on that one.
Yeah, so because of the Heroku to AWS migration and a lot of the work the team has been doing, we have a dedicated group of folks on the engineering team that have only been working on this. They've been adding all kinds of observability. So for example, the ability to follow a script all the way through and see like at what point it fails and then see that on a broader scale. So adding that observability enables us to say, hey, we found a couple of things, we're going to fix those things and then see the impact of that in terms of what percentage of failures did that fix, et cetera. We didn't have that level of granularity before. So they have worked on that. They've identified a few areas that are needing fixes. So, and they're working on the fixes for that. So we will have updates soon once those go out and we'll be able to see what percentage of the issues those resolved, and we'll be able to look into other areas. But we have a lot of folks on the team working on that. We know it's a big issue.
St. Peter is asking, is there a way to search keywords that would show up in communications? Peter, I'm assuming that you're talking about like searching ticket comments, and there is not a way to do that currently. That is something that we are looking at. Part of the ticketing and PSA improvements we're looking at for 2023. So there likely is going to be the ability to search ticket comments coming in the search box on the ticket index page. So it's something that we're definitely looking at. Anonymous users asking, can we get into more detail about Acronis and Syncro integration, specifically the backup integration? Yeah. So one thing I'll say, and Emily alluded to this too, we think super big here at Syncro, and when we think big and miss, we learn from our mistakes. And we really went big and wide with what we were coining Syncro backups, and it just never got to the level that we had initially envisioned. This is effectively the opposite of that to start, where we're making sure that we start small, and that as we add things incrementally, we're focusing on the things that you all are telling us I need to have a better backup integration that's going to make me more money, make me more efficient, and all those types of things. So again, to start, it's simply a pass-through integration. 100% of what you're going to do in terms of management would be done through Acronis's portal, which is very good if anybody has used it. Again, there is some things you can do in Syncro today through scripting, like throw RMM alerts for failed backups and things like that. In terms of what we're going to focus on when we bring an integration or potentially bring an integration with Acronis, one would certainly be billing. That's the one that is pretty much at the top of my list all the time. And that's basically where you could bill customers for usage, metered usage, kind of like how in the system now you can dynamically count assets and recurring invoices or contacts, employees, and bill out an exact amount every month automatically. We'd like to be able to do the same thing for the backup licenses, for storage, in any configuration that you want to bill out. We would like to be able to do that automatically. Beyond that, it would be the things that you're expecting, like being able to generate a ticket from alerts that are being generated in Acronis, and things to that extent. We will not really be bringing in like multiple elements of their UI into Syncro. The expectation would be that the bulk of the heavy lifting is done there, and then the light management components would be the kind of thing that you would expect to see in Syncro. If I missed anything that you want to know specifically, just shoot another question over here. We'll ask it.
Also, ask Emily some questions, you guys.
I can take this one about when is the dashboard. So more UI. There's a lot of UI ones in here. I sense a theme. So there's one about when is the dashboard getting its facelift? Want to be able to customize more. There was another question about the white space or exclude certain types of things. So heard loud and clear, customization. Like not everybody wants to see the same thing the same way. Not everybody has the same priorities. So we definitely hear that. And as we said earlier, one, I'll confirm that like a focus on UI UX is something that's on the roadmap for next year. Just to say that loud and clear and confirm it. And, we're starting with the top nav. We've got, pages that have the most impact prioritized after that. So pages that you spend the most time on or that you can get the most value from, like the dashboard page and some of the settings areas and things like that are in the works for 2023.
Brandon's asking, can you limit staff to only have access to one customer, like customer A, but not customer B? Yes and no. I think what you're asking is like record-based or role-based access control. And as far as like seeing one customer record and not another, no. However, we do have the ability today to limit a Syncro user to a single customer, and that's really designed for co-managed IT environments. So like if you have somebody where you're kind of acting as tier 2 support and they need access to their own stuff through your Syncro instance, you can definitely set that up. Ian, I've been taking all the questions. I don't know if you see any that you're hot to grab or.
That was the one I was going to take.
Oh, okay.
I'll take one. We'll take one over here from YouTube.
Okay.
Somebody was asking about like why Acronis bills for local storage. Do you have a response for that one?
Yeah. So there's two models that Acronis uses, and again, it's really focused on saving you money. So the most common method, this is what 90% of everybody uses, is called the per workload model. It's where you'll pay a license price for like workstation or a server, and then local storage is free, and that would include if you want to back up to a NAS or to a file server. And then in the cloud, it's like a small per gigabyte storage cost. The second model is called per gigabyte, which is basically a usage model. So there's no license pricing at all, and you just pay for storage. Under that one, you pay a higher cloud storage rate. And then you also pay for local storage because you're not paying a license fee. One of the really cool things about Acronis is that those two models are not defined by your MSP, they're defined by your customer, meaning if Emily and Ian are my customers, I can put Emily on the per workload model, I can put Ian on the per gigabyte model. So as an example, if Ian's got a bunch of assets I want to back up to the cloud and they have like 10 gigabytes of data on them, it would cost you $1 under the per gigabyte model. And if Emily has a ton of storage, that model would be crazy expensive. So then I could just have her on the other model. So that's one of the best things about Acronis, is the way that you can customize the billing on a per customer basis. Emily, I got a good one here for you. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I was going to take one about mobile app development.
Yeah, go for it.
Peter asked, how's the mobile app development going? we have a lot of techs that rely on the app. And Peter, you and me have similar thoughts on the brain. I was just chatting with someone about this today at Syncro, and I've heard similar sentiment. I know that a lot of our partners, rely on the app. I also know that it's not maybe the shining star of the Syncro platform today, and that is something that we are looking at for 2023. I'm curious to talk to more partners who use it and who could, help us in prioritizing what we invest there, and exactly how we enhance it, and how exactly you want to use it. And so I would love, I'll reach out. You can reach out to me at ceo@syncromsp.com, and it would be great to chat with you. I'd also like our product team to chat with you a bit to talk about what you need there. But I know that it could be better. It's one of many things that we'd like to get to. And I think having some really crisp priorities and needs there would really help.
I love this name, Rocket Diva. Actually, I'll give you a last name, but is this Mary, by the way? Because I know your company name, and I talk about it all the time. It's like the best company name ever. So I'm assuming that's Rocket Diva. But oh, I'm sorry. She was the one asking about local storage. She had another question above. Is it possible to have prepaid block hours set up for a customer, yet make exceptions where the block is not applied to an invoice? So if this is you, Mary, no, but this is another one that is a great candidate for 2023. Add that to our feature request form, and please ping me on that, because she's basically saying, okay, and I'm just assuming, but you probably have like after hours support or something to that extent, where that's set aside from your normal billing mechanics. So you want all of your types to go for off your block hour, off your 5 hours a month or 10 hours a month or whatever. But if something happens outside of that, you want to be able to bill for that separately and not have it decrement from your hours. So I think that's a great suggestion. I definitely agree it's something we need. So please definitely add that to the feature request list. I love that idea.
I have one I could take too, from Ryan, who says he's new to Syncro, migrating from some other place. And he wonders if there's a conference in the works for 2023. So I can share that we will be at many more events in 2023. Syncro is planning to have attendance at a lot of the channel events next year. That's part of our investment, and we want to be out there meeting and engaging with you in person and showcasing new features and talking with you directly. So that is part of our plan. However, we don't currently have a solid plan about having like a SyncroCon or a Syncro, I don't know, extravaganza yet. Although, I won't say it hasn't entered the realm of possibility, but we're starting with getting out there on the road again, and definitely have about 2 to 3 shows a quarter planned. So we'll be out in your area for sure if you want to come out and meet us.
Yeah, that's going to be cool. It'll be good to be on the road again. Well, there's quite a few people talking about the automatic assignment of tickets. So I'm really glad that you guys like that. I love that one too.
Going here, in regards to, is there a way to dynamically change billing based on device or users depending on which one is higher? There isn't like a which one is higher, but I feel like device will always be at least what user is, right? Like, so I would just build based on how many devices, because a person should have at least one device, or at least that would be my thinking, but maybe you're thinking about something I'm not picking up on.
So Jeremy's asking Ian about, basically he's asking about SSO with Microsoft 365. And he's asking if we've looked at any other integrations in the same light.
Yeah, we've looked at it. I think it's a matter at this point of figuring out the exact way to implement it, and how generic to make it. So we're looking at it. I don't have an exact spec to share or anything like that yet. But we know you guys need it. We know insurance is requiring it in a lot of ways. So yeah, it's top of mind.
Emily, I got one for you specifically. Paul's asking, do you see a Linux agent being useful on your roadmap for 2023? Was that widely used at Datto or a one-off?
Yeah, I can take that one. Hi, Paul. It's not currently on the roadmap for 2023, but we're always looking to see what our partners want. So it's not a never, no never, but probably not for 2023. At Datto, I'm not at liberty to share exactly the population of devices, but maybe a general statement that Linux was not a popular platform for backups. I also don't see that request a lot in our partner base, but Ian and Andy, if you have something else on that, feel free to chime in.
Yeah, we don't see that many requests for it. I think if it was higher up on the list, we'd look at it a little more seriously, but there just aren't that many requests for it.
Yeah, from my perspective, I hear a lot of folks asking specifically to manage like Synology NAS servers or something like that. And you can actually monitor all that stuff through Syncro's native SNMP as well. So there is workarounds for the majority of that stuff. You can even monitor a whole lot of stuff in a Linux box with SNMP as well. So that is a workaround that you can look at now.
Thanks.
Technically, we do have the Watchman Linux agent, but that's not in Syncro.
Mark's asking about dynamic grouping or searching, saying that's a popular request. I think, Mark, what you're talking about is the ability to take like a saved asset search, but make it constantly update so you could like run a policy or run a script against it. That's probably not something we're looking at right now. There's a huge amount of complexity to that, and there's a bunch of ways that could go. So there's definitely things that we could improve upon. Like I know a couple folks in here were asking about script history, where they want to schedule a script against a bunch of assets, and then they're like, whoops, didn't mean to do that. And you kind of right now have to go to every single asset and remove those scripts manually. So having like a single page to see all your scripts, that would be like the incremental improvements we're probably going to be looking at. I think dynamic grouping and searching and trying to apply things to that is probably not something we'll be doing in 2023, but never say never. I know that one is a popular request. Let's see what else.
I can speak to the Xero and QuickBooks syncing issues. There's some, basically, to step back for a second, we look at all the known issues that are being reported, and shout out to our new known issues board, and figure out how many folks that's affecting and what the impact is on the folks that it's affecting. And then we triage those. Right now, recurring scripts, definitely highest, right? We pretty much resolved the recurring invoices stuff. We've now finished the Heroku to AWS migration. So there's always a next up. Q1, we are definitely looking at the accounting integrations and getting that stuff resolved. So very aware that's very high up on the list.
Emily, you want to take the one from Mike there? I saw you flagged.
Yeah, I accidentally. Well, there's two. I mean, I'm happy.
Well, now you're answering.
I'm happy.
So.
I know now I'm in it. So here we go. Yeah, no, Randy asked a similar question. So Randy and Mike kind of because Ian mentioned Watchman, or maybe it was already on the mic. I don't know. Randy asked any new integrations with Watchman purchase, and Mike asked, are there any thoughts on rolling in Watchman monitoring abilities into the Syncro agent? So yes, I mean, for those of you who aren't familiar, we in 2021 acquired Watchman monitoring. It's still available as a standalone product, so you can go, avail yourself of it today if you need that functionality. We haven't integrated it yet with Syncro, but that is something that we are considering for 2023 and seeing. It may not take the form of an integration per se, but how can we bring the capabilities of Watchman into the Syncro product and bring that to all of our MSPs? Our original promise there was to roll that into the Syncro product going forward. So we are looking to see if that will fit in the priorities for this year, and it's an active sort of conversation. So yes.
I have a Facebook user, I don't see their name. They're saying, hey guys, is work still being done on the tax stuff in New Zealand and Australia? It was rolled out to the UK earlier this year. Yes, so I'm actually looking right now at a list of the 6 awesome things that I just showed you today, and number 7, which is like right below that we did not get to, specifically says VAT for AU, NZ, and Ireland locales. So it is coming. It's not super far away. I don't have an exact date for you, but 100% you're going to get it.
Okay, we've got time for just a couple more questions. Let's see, there's too many. Any good ones?
Yeah, some of these are longer, so I'm trying to read through quick.
Oh, wow, we have like 1 minute left?
Well, we're gonna go a little extra if you're cool, Emily.
Oh, okay.
You got time?
Okay. For you, I will make time.
I appreciate that. This is why we love Emily, because she's always down for anything. Oh, okay. And here was the question from Mike. He's asking about the single page that would show all script results. Mike, like I said, super good idea. I totally understand the need for it. Not only just to see like scripts that failed, but scripts that you might be thinking of running that aren't, or vice versa, scripts that are running that you don't want to be running anymore. So if you haven't already, put that in the community forum. And if you already have it in there, just ping me on it so I can have a look. But yeah, I definitely want to see that one too.
I got one here from Craig, who is migrating from Enable and excited to use Syncro and is wondering what the documented training plan, or like basically how to get up to speed with Syncro. Feel free to shoot me an email. I can introduce you to an implementation specialist on our end, and they can send you some documentation and videos, but also, answer any questions you might have.
Ryan is asking about potentially any other payment processors. I know we just talked about Stripe, and we already have Stripe for credit cards. We're adding Stripe for ACH. We've got WorldPay. He's asking specifically about Connect Booster, saying we use it with Autotask. Oh, Ryan, that pains my soul to hear that you're not using Syncro for your PSA, but it's fine. I'll take it. And you're basically saying you have client billing there, and you're wondering if you could integrate it with Syncro at some point. That'd be great.
Do you want this one, or you want me to take it, Emily?
Or either.
You take it. I'll add.
Yeah, I mean, we're how do I say this diplomatically? We're aware that there are things that are lacking in payments, and we are very much looking into that.
Yeah, I think also I'll add. I'll add to that. I think that, through this year, we've heard loud and clear that partners want different choices there. And they have their preferred partner for that, or they need certain functionality of a payment provider that maybe the ones we have already don't provide. And so that is on the roadmap for 2023, is looking at how do we sort of satisfy more of our partners' needs in that area, and bring them, now we did Stripe ACH payments, but what else can we do to help facilitate payments for our partners? That very much is a priority for next year.
Yep.
Craig's asking, is there any routine RMM webinars on patch management, remote management, ticketing? Not necessarily a routine webinar, but outside of this fireside chat, this is kind of what this is designed to do. So it's less of a training and more of like, you've been on Syncro, you've accumulated your list of questions or places that you know that you can improve, and you're looking at how to do it. Come loaded with those questions to the next one on January 10th. Hit us with it. I'll throw up an instance and I'll just show you whatever you want. So yeah, this is the regular us doing exactly that.
You know what else I'll say? There's a bunch of questions here that we're not going to have time to get to, but a few of them fall into the bucket of like contact support. And so back to sort of, what I kicked off with, we've made improvements to support. We're going to continue to invest there. I invite you, if you have a question that's kind of discrete, or maybe it's a how do I, or does the product do this, or does the feature work this way, I encourage you to reach out to support, help@syncromsp.com. See how that experience goes. There's a CSAT survey where you can give feedback, and also email me at ceo@syncromsp.com and let me know how that experience goes. Because I think, we won't have time to get to all of them, but our support team is standing by and very ready and willing and able to take your questions.
Have a good usage question. Anonymous user saying, hey, is there a way we can separate the Windows update policy for security updates and Microsoft updates specifically for servers? We want to do security updates daily and Microsoft patches monthly. Not sure what's the best practice for servers. There's not necessarily a best practice. What you're talking about is fine. That will work. For folks that don't know, we have a full-blown policy inheritance model. So you can stream policy elements down and aggregate them together into a final, what we call an effective policy. For your instance specifically, Windows updates are cumulative, meaning if you have more than one update policy, what I was showing you earlier, you can mash those together, and they'll be handled individually, even though they're both on a policy. So you can actually create two separate policies like that, assign one to like the server at that level, assign one to the folder above it, and they'll both run as independent policies. So you can 100% do that today with the existing system for sure. What else do we got? See anything else there, Ian? I think a lot of these are support questions like Emily.
Yeah, there's a lot. We won't be able to get to them all. But it might be a good advertisement for the next Ask Us Anything. So maybe we leave it here.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. And as a side note, the quality of life things, it seems that everybody really enjoyed this. So I think when we have more, I think we'll be actually probably doing the same thing. We're going to show them off live at our Ask Us Anything, kind of as another incentive to hop in and let us interact.
Very brave, Andy. Very brave of you.
Yeah, that's very brave.
And thank you, Emily, for joining us. It was super cool to have you on board as well. Yeah, if I don't
Thanks
talk
for
to you,
having me. Thanks to everybody who showed up and came.
yeah, everybody have a nice holiday if we don't talk to you by then. Thanks again for joining us.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, take
Happy
care.
holidays.